Hi, today we are going to talk about data types in Java. Let's start it. Uh, Data types specifies the value that the variable can store. So in Java, whenever we declare a variable, we need to declare what kind of values that variable is going to store. Okay, so that we need to declare whenever we define an variable. There are two types of data types in Java. That is primitive data types and non-primitive data types. So what are the difference between these two? In primitive category, there are boolean, char, byte, short, int, float, double, etc. These are the primitive data types. And non-primitive data types means it is string, array, classes, interfaces, etc. Okay, so we can go one by one. What is this mean by data types in Java? So we can see that in the chart, the data type and its default value and default size. Whenever we declare a variable with the data type, the memory will be allocated. So what is the default size it is going to be used? We can see that boolean as default value is false. Okay, and it is a 1 bit, and similarly car, it is a 2 byte storage and its a default value that is actually uh, that is the minimum value that is are displayed, that is backslash u 000 means that is the value. We can talk in the following part of this presentation, as well as the byte. Short is the default value 0, int is 0, long 0. So these are the default values and the different sizing. Similarly, in Java, all primitive data types has the corresponding wrapper class. What does that mean by? This is the primitive data type, and similarly, there will be a wrapper class for the corresponding boolean. Okay, this is because why we need the wrapper class corresponding to the primitive data type in the Java. In older version of the Java, there is a collection framework. We will talk about the collection, what is the collection framework is all about. But in the collections, they will deal with objects. Okay, so in order to save these values in the collection means set, list, etc. So in order to deal with the collections, we need to be converted these primitive data type into objects. So we are using the corresponding corresponding wrapper classes for the primitive data types. Okay, so there is, in old version, there is no way to automatically convert this primitive value to object, but now latest version of the Java, it is capable of doing the auto boxing the data type into the corresponding object. It is possible now, it is possible, but in old version it is not. So we are manually we need to convert this into object. We have to create corresponding object in the corresponding primitive value, and then we save in the collections. Okay, as we can see that in char data type it is 2 byte, because in Java these characters are uses in Unicode system, not in ASCII code system. Because why we using in Java the Unicode system is nothing but it will have all characters, all letters in the way, in all languages. It supports that letters or characters. So that's the reason Java uses the Unicode system. Also, the lowest value is this particular slash u 000, which means it is a null. What is null means? It's not literally null. Null character, which means nothing is there. Okay, so that is the what mean by the character and its default value. So let's see sample example in hands-on, so we can better understand. So I have one package. So here I declared I have one class which is called data type example, and I just whatever we discussed now, I just want to demo that how the value will be. So I've just created one object. So you can see that I declared that it's a boolean byte, short, in, long, float, etc. What will be the default? So I didn't assign any value, but it will display the default value here. Let's run this program. We can see that it's a default value. So whenever we do uh, the declaration, its default value automatically will be assigned. So you can see that for this particular first value there is a boolean, that's the reason it's a false. The second one is the character, see car, but it didn't print anything, which means that's what I told, that is the empty string or null character, which it will not print as explicitly like null like this. No, it will not print like that. It's null means it's a null character. That's what it's all about. Okay, so these are the values. So in order to calculate, or in order to declare any variable, we need to define what kind of data type that is going to save or deal with. Then in the next section is non-primitive data types. So that comes to string. So we can go one by one. A string is a particular way of one of the non-primitive data type, and we can create by two way. Okay, one is literally we can create as like the primitive data type, or by using the new keyword. So there is a difference is there. So what is the difference is that string, if you declare the string literally, if you define this literally, the value is going to store in the string pool. Whereas the new operator, we already gone through this new operator while we creating the objects. Whenever we create an object, we are used to create by the classes, object of the classes, by doing the new operator. So what the new operator will do, the new operator will create one object of this particular class, and that object will be saved in the Java heap. So there will be memory allocation model is there. So there will be, we call as Java heap, a portion of the memory that is called Java heap. So where the object will be persisted. So here two-way strings will have the two model, two space for the saving or storing this its values. One is in string pool, another one is a Java heap. So what is the difference and how they related? So we can take one example here. Here I have declared. This way of declaring or defining the variable is known as literally. Okay, so here I created one object and one string is string s1 is equal to Binoy. So one string, one representation, or what we can say that, see, for example, this is the pool, say pool. Here is already value is there Binoy. Okay, so whenever s1 is created, it will point to this particular object. And so what internally it will have, how is the functioning is that whenever s1 is go literally we define, it will check whether in pool is there any object is string object is exist or not. So first time it will not exist. So what will do, it will create the Binoy here, and this reference give back to s1. So s1 will point to this Binoy. The next statement, our next statement s2, what will happen, this s2 will check whether the Binoy is exist or not. So it found that Binoy is already created by the s1. So what they will do, they will return back that reference to here s2. Okay, so that's so both cases s1 and s2 now points to the same object in the string. So it won't create new, so no, it won't create new two Binoy object. Instead one object is there that will be shared between these two s1 and s2 variables. Okay, so sorry, ideally this S1 and S2 will be equal, equals, they will give you same reference, same, it will be equal. Okay, then the second way of creating is that using the string new operator, that is here S3. Okay, so what they will do, it will not the previously how it is done by the string pool, correct? The string pool is there, pool is there, and the heap, another memory space, heap. These two are different. The first one will be S1 and S2 will be in pool, and this will be point to heap. Okay, so what will they do, it will create one object S3, where it will create in the heap, and that reference will be pointed to S3. Okay, now let's compare these, whether these two are equal, S1 and S2. That's what here I'm doing by using the system.out.println. S1 and S2 will always return true, because why? Because these S1 and S2 are created in the, they're literally declared, and they are pointed to the same, and they are same in the string pool, so it will be always true. But in S2 and S3 are created in different way, and their memory locations are different, so that will return into false. Okay, so is there any relation, can we do for example, can we do any existing, or can we reuse the object in the pool while we creating benign in using the new operator? That's what I'm doing here by indent method. What is this indent method is doing? Okay, so in string class, this string class is what it is checking into is like, I created one S3, correct, and I want to one reference, I want to get one reference if there is a pool is there. So in pool already, in pool we have already one binary is existing. Okay, so S3 also have the value of binary, that is in heap. Okay, so in S3 dot, when we call this one, what will happen, this is pool, what will happen, it will check whether this pool has S3 dot indent. When we call, it will check whether in pool has the same value of binary is there or not in pool. If it is there, it will give back the reference of that binary. Okay, suppose if there is no binary is there, then what will happen, it will create new binary object. It's if in here now it is there, because S1 and S2 are pointed to the same. If S1 and S1 not declared, and then I'm calling to a string dot, it will, what will create in pool, it will create new binary object that will point to S4. Okay, now all three, what are S1, S2 and S4 are from the pool. They are referring to the same object in the pool. So ideally in this statement, whatever this statement, S1 is equal to S4 is always 4. Right? Let's just run this example. Got it? So this is the difference between the string pool, I mean string in the case of the string, that is in the pool, and heap. So these are the two difference we need to think, uh, we need to keep in mind this in our programming way, because whenever we, why the what is the difference means, the objects will be uh, removed by the our garbage collector. Okay, whenever the memory is whenever the memory required for the JVM, so what will they do, they will reclaim the memory, whatever which what objects that is not used or that is not active object, so that will be reclaim the memory. So if we save any password in the string pool, it will be security issues real time of the build. So ideally, we should not create a password or sensitive data by simply literal way of in the string, because it will be saved in the pool, and it will be persist there. So it will not be uh, garbage collected by the JVM. Okay, so that should be we should not do code like that for sensitive in real world. Okay, then our next data type is array. That is, array is also a non-primitive data type. So what is the array means? In array, the objects, what it mean by the array? Array means a same type of data will be saved, okay, in series of elements. Okay, similar data type contains, I mean, in array. Okay, it is based on the index and it starts with 0. Okay, so there are two types of arrays are there. I mean, single dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays are there. So how do we define? So we can define in arrays in different way. So these are the different way. One is like what and all data type is going to save. See, so that we need to declare. So as like we did, if it is going to save the integer, so it should be declared int, then the square bracket, and this is the array name. Similarly, there is, we can also declare like this. So there is a space is the difference between the first and second. There is a space, square bracket, array, and even we can declare in this fashion also. Define this data type, then the array name, then square bracket. After this we just declare this array and array name, and we need to allocate the memory, and we need to create the object. So how do we do? That is do using by new operator. How the array name is equal to new data type. Whatever data type we declare, the same data type and size of the array. Let's see how the real time. So here this is the way I'm talking about. See here I declare this is the data type that is going to save in this array. So what does this mean by, in this array only int values will be you can save. Okay, and there's another way, there is a space is there, array1, and you can either you can do like this, or you can declare and create instantiate the object in single line itself. Either way is fine. And this another way is like declaring like this, array2 is equal to, this is the memory, I mean array size, there's a 10 means it's a start with 0. Or another way is like you can still, if you see like this, we just allocated the memory, there is no, we didn't given any values into this array. In here what we are doing is that we are declaring one array, that is here in the case it's integer, and also we are passing the values. We are not mentioning any size or anything like that, but we directly passing. So what that compiler will do, it will check what how many elements are there. So here in the case 1 2 3, so this array will be, size will be 3, and it start with the zeroth index will be 1, first index will be 2, third index will be 3. So this way also we can declare and assign the values directly. Here I'm doing this just iteration what we happened in the previous. So this is the first array, and this is the array 3 I declared using this one. Let's see the example. As you can see, in the first case it printed 0. Why it's printed 0? Because here I didn't assign any values. So what will happen, it will give you what is the default type, I mean default value of this integer, that is 0. That's why it's printed 0. But here why it is printed, you can see that it's printed, right? So using the for loop, why is it printed? Because here I declared the value and I instantiated the array, and I declared the value also, so that it will be 0 1 2 3. Okay, these are the different data types. And also we can use the previous section, we also talked about that interfaces and classes. For example, if we create an example, I mean, if we create object of this particular array, how it will do? Array example is equal to new array example. So this is here. What does this mean? This is the one type, data type of array example class. Correct. Array example class is the one of the example. I mean, one of the data type, and this is the variable name, and this is belongs to this particular object. Okay. So this represent a class. Class is also we can declare a this is a custom class, we can say that's a data type. Okay, so this way also, then similarly interfaces also we can declare this way. So these are the data types in the Java we are using. Thank you.
If you like the video, please click the like button and subscribe for more videos.